My pleasure to welcome to the program the new head of Caritas, now formerly the head of Caritas New Zealand, which in itself is a fantastic honour. But this is the first New Zealander to head up what is the second largest humanitarian organisation in the world, the first Pasifika person and only the second woman to hold the role. Mena Antonia joining me on the program. Mena, kia ora, thank you so much for your time.
Kia ora, Andrew, and kia ora to your listeners.
Firstly, congratulations. This is a wonderful honour, and I know that you've just recently returned from Rome, officially appointed by Pope Leo. What a fantastic celebration! How are you feeling in response to all of this, Mena?
Oh, look, it is. It is an honour. I will just make a correction.
Okay.
I had a few, minutes with Pope Leo, but the appointment was actually made by the Representative Council
Okay.
of Caritas Internationalis, and Cardinal Isao Kikuchi, who was the president of Caritas Internationalis, had nominated me for the role of vice president. So, but it's an honour. It has been in the pipeline for some time. I had been asked to a meeting in May to consider the invitation. So it just took a few steps in order to just get the right endorsements, to have the right conversations with people, just to sort of fortify the role, and also whether this was the right role for me, for the community we serve, and for Caritas New Zealand, and also for our bishops, of which we are an agency. So it's a big honour, but it's also it's one that I think you get even more humble about.
Exactly, and hey, having returned from Rome and all of that that wonderful time there, I suppose now you're back in New Zealand. It's on with the big work ahead, and certainly some challenges for Caritas. Certainly some challenges we face globally. Just before we go any further, though, I mean, for those that aren't aware, talk to us about what Caritas is and the work that you're involved with.
Yeah, so Caritas Aotearoa New Zealand is one member of the Confederation of Caritas. It's a global confederation. We are one of 162 members globally. The mission is to alleviate the suffering for the poorest and the most vulnerable, to help those in greatest need, to bring the gospel to teachings, and in our work is love in action. We enact our teachings in the work that we do, either through development or through humanitarian or crisis response, and we put all of those teachings into action. We amplify the voice of the poor and the vulnerable. We walk alongside them. And we are at service. Even though we're a global organisation, we know in order to be global, we must be local.
Yep.
So it is about walking alongside us, amplifying the voice of those who are the forgotten, and really coming from a community grassroots level. And that's the space that we're in. We are grassroots.
Certainly some challenges that we're facing in the Pacific as well, our little corner of the globe. But I suppose needing to put that in perspective with some of the other global priorities. I mean, this is where you're from. You'll bring a Pacific perspective to the new role, but needing to balance that with other priorities.
Look, it is. I think as from where we come from, we do tend to talk about binary. It's either this, or we can only just put our resources or restricted sort of attention to certain things. In terms of our teachings, we go to where the attention is needed.
Yep.
So where we come from in terms of the Pacific, climate change is a priority. It is something. It's a voice that we bring to the Global Confederation. We are people of the ocean, and That's a perspective that we bring. So, when you're sitting alongside, and as you rightly point out, when you're sitting alongside the demands and the images and the violence of war, conflict, famine, we also say that climate change is also an act of violence.
Yep.
It's an act of violence against the environment. It has devastating and fatal consequences for people who are directly affected, but also it affects the whole world, given that the ocean, Pacific Ocean being the largest ocean in the world, is the lungs of the ocean, is the lungs of this planet.
Yeah.
So because it's in our area, we do have a moral and a spiritual and an environmental responsibility to bring the lament of the ocean, and for those who live and rely on it, to the rest of the world. So it sits alongside the other concerns and the other devastations that are going on in the world.
We recently, of course, seen devastating storms in many different parts of the world, and that is also connected with climate change and the impact that this is having on different peoples in different parts of the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And climate change itself is such a nebulous sort of an umbrella, and there are areas within that you must focus on. And this is where we do, focus on particular areas that sort of they're under that umbrella. And the campaign that Caritas International and its members are focusing on at the moment is debt finance, is climate finance.
Yep.
And this is where our island nations are subject to massive debt in order to mitigate and adapt to climate change, and yet are not the protagonist or the cause of those implications. So that in itself is an injustice, and we see that as part of our environmental justice arm of Caritas, to speak out about it, to advocate about it, to try and affect a much better outcome, and to make it bearable for the people who are affected.
And having I suppose, a local voice, being able to advocate for people in the Pacific is a wonderful thing. So what will this look like for you on a regular basis? I imagine a complicated meeting schedule, Zoom calls in the middle of the night to meet with everybody else's clocks and calendars and those sorts of things, coordinating the efforts of Caritas globally. I imagine lots of late night meetings. What would it look like on a regular basis, Mena?
Yeah, look, Andrew, it's no different to how we work at the moment. There's myself and also members of my staff who are already working in that way. In order for the Confederation to be able to do its work, to enact its mission globally, we have, we enlist members from all of our staff from all over, from our members, in order to enact that. So, we've got these strategic orientations, we've got working groups, we've got task groups. So I am part of that whole machinery.
Yep.
To be able to provide the governance around that, to ensure that happens, to make sure that we are resourcing that work well. It's our responsibility in order to do that. In terms of the vice presidency, I was already on the representative council, which is the governance board anyway. So I would travel for 2 days, for example, a 2-day meeting to Rome, for example. With the vice presidency role, it just means that I may now be traveling there for a 4 or 5-day meeting to get some of that in-person business done. But it was also part of the talks before I accepted the role, several months after the offer was made, was just to make sure that role sort of integrated with what we were doing already. And also that it wasn't going to conflict or clash with my own responsibility to my staff, to my board, and to our bishops.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. You're continuing, I understand, with the New Zealand chief executive role. There's just a lot to juggle in that space.
Yeah, look, we're pretty focused here in New Zealand. So operationally, yes, I'm still looking after the operations. I mean, in order to do that, you have to have a really highly skilled management team.
Yeah.
And also highly skilled staff that are clear about what they need to do. And we've got that. We've been working on that for quite some time now. So the vice presidency role is a governance role. It's the governance is an area that I'm very, very comfortable with. It's my background anyway. So so it's been integrated well.
Just finally on this one, what do you see to be the priorities for this next season? Yes, you continue to sit at the table, though sitting in a slightly different position within that governance role. What do you see to be the priorities for Caritas in terms of global concern that we need to focus on in the years ahead, Mena?
Look, I think it's ensuring that we stay on mission and not be tempted by the situations that we all face. We're charities, we're international NGOs, and we have a big mission ahead of us, and that need is getting greater and greater as funding gets diminished or gets rediverted, as we say, from aid to arms. And everyone is facing challenges. I mean, we are at the moment sitting in a fundraising all-day strategy day today. These are so our priorities is really to keep on the mission, and our mission is about continuing to get fresh water to those communities that are suffering, to get the livelihoods, to continue for some of our programs, ensuring that livelihood is enabled through some of the programs that we're doing, to ensuring that women and children and young girls are safe, or as safe as they can be. So it's ensuring that we are looking after those who are less fortunate than us and staying on mission and not be tempted by mission drift, so we say, especially in this really dire situation where we all find ourselves in terms of funding.
It's certainly some huge challenges ahead there, but yes, in terms of priorities and seeking God's will in all of this, we certainly wish you all the best with the challenges ahead. Again, congratulations on your appointment. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you
very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.